The Lives of Saints Sidwell and Juthwara, the Virgin Martyrs of Exeter, as compiled by Vladimir Moss. These martyrs were sisters in the flesh, and since their lives are very similar, it is sometimes thought that they are one and the same person. However, the balance of evidence appears to support the traditional belief that they were distinct persons. St. Sidwell, or Satviola, was born at Exeter and was killed by her stepmother, who incited the reapers in the fields to behead her with a scythe and throw her head into a well. She was buried outside the east gate of the city. The church dedicated to her still survives, and many miracles of healing have taken place through her intercession during Orthodox times. There is a holy well next to her church. St. Sidwell had a holy brother in St. Paul Aurelian, who emigrated to Brittany, a holy sister in St. Wulvela, a church in Cornwall being dedicated to the two sisters. St. Juthwara, or Order, was another sister of St. Sidwell. She was a pious virgin devoted to prayer, fasting, and alms-giving. After her father's death, she grew pale as wax, and when her stepmother asked her the cause, she replied that she was suffering from a pain in her chest. Her stepmother recommended that she apply 2 cheeses to her breasts to ease the pain. Then she told her son Banner that Juthwara was pregnant, adding as proof that if he felt the space between her breasts, it would be damp from milk coming from her breasts. He accused her, found that the space between her breasts was damp, flew into a rage and cut off her head with his sword. According to the Britain version of the story, Juthwara had stuffed her bosom with milk curds to give to the poor, and when she was beheaded, she took up her head, walked to the hall, put her head on again, reproached her brother, and immediately died. Then the brother, whose name was Gurguy, went to his brother St. Paul at Lyon, and was told by him to do penance by retiring into the forest near Landerneau, and there fast and pray for 40 days. The penance accomplished, Gurguy returned to St. Paul, who admitted as a monk to his monastery, and finally sent him to be superior of a cell he had established at Gerber, afterwards called Le Relec, and changed his name to Tanguy. It is known that St. Paul established a monastery at Gerber in about 560. A fountain and an oak sprang up at the place of St. Juthwara's martyrdom. After many years, the tree was overthrown by a gale and fell against a house that was near, so that the branch prevented people from going in or out. The owner of the house and his boy set to work hacking the boughs away, when the stump, relieved of the burden, righted itself and carried up the boy who was clinging to an uncut branch. In about the year 1050, St. Alfwold, Bishop of Sherborne, in response to many signs and revelations, translated the relics of St. Juthwara from Halstock to Sherborne, where they were placed next to those of St. Wulfstan, Bishop of Sherborne, which were translated at the same time. There, through the intercession of the two saints, many miracles took place. One of the brothers of the monastery had been violently shaken for nearly half a year by bouts of fever, which came first every 2 days and then daily. He hated all food and had to be dragged to meals, as if to torture. On the day of the solemn translation of the relics of St. Juthwara, he wanted to sing in the choir behind the procession, but was suddenly seized with trembling and pallor. Reluctantly, he began to move back as if to captivity. But the other brothers, mindful of the grace of the saints, gave him to drink from the water which had washed the bones. He was completely healed. Others suffering from fevers were also healed by drinking the holy water. A married woman lay as if dead for 3 days. She was deaf and dumb, immobile as a stone, her eyes staring blankly in front of her, pupils and eyelids motionless. She gave no sign to those who called to her, and when carried, her head and other limbs would fall, if not supported. Everyone was expecting her death, and the only talk was of her burial. On the 3rd day, her son, who was a monk brought up in the piety of the saints, came to see his parents, wishing to comfort the one and cure the other. But human wisdom saw no hope of a cure. Mindful, however, of the virtues of his native saints, he returned to the monastery and sent her some of the aforementioned water. Immediately, some of it was poured down her throat. She came to as if from sleep, moved her eyes, sat up, and eagerly drank the rest of the draught. Soon she was on her feet. Then all their friends, who had been mourning the woman without hope, rejoiced with her husband, as if she had come back from the dead. There was a well-known priest named Wulfric, who had been caught and ordained by Bishop Ælfwold. A serious illness brought him to receive the mystery of holy unction, when, mindful of the virtues of the Virgin Martyr Juthwara, he sent a boy to Sherborne, saying, "Ask the brethren to dip the relics of St. Juthwara, who was translated thither by St. Ælfwold, into some water, and to send it to me to drink. For I believe that I shall receive life and my former health through it." The messenger went and came back with the water, and when Wulfric drank it, he was immediately cured. The Orthodox Church celebrates the memory of St. Sidwell of Exeter on August 1st, St. Juthwara of Exeter on November 28th, and the translation of her relics on July 13th. Holy Virgin Martyrs Sidwell and Juthwara, pray to God for us.